Well, given the shock of what he just saw and how Wotek reacted, the giant pats his shield brother on the head, scratches him behind the ear again, calms him down, tense now that the encounter he just had. His eyes
Okay.
harden, and so does his spirit. And as they're preparing, he prepares Wotek. He puts the saddle on him. He prepares his side because the giant is about to mount the bear and follow the vehicle to the rendezvous point.
Okay. Excellent. Uh, so so you
Question.
hop on and you're all set to go. You're able to. He definitely can move you around a lot quicker than you can move, and once you're mounted, you definitely feel like you're ready for battle and good to go.
Mhm.
All right.
Are we noticing other people taking vehicles to said rendezvous point, or people walking on foot from if they have vehicles?
You're hearing a few other engines in the background. Some sound like more mundane combustion engines, and I'd say you probably hear like two of those maybe. But you're also hearing a couple others that sound like some other kind of power source, maybe Techno Wizard or electrical. So yeah,
I just don't want to hear I'm going to Fazoli's or going to an Italian restaurant and show up in a nice suit and it's actually Fazoli's. So I don't want to bring
sure.
my buggy in, and if everyone's just on foot, me look like an asshole.
Yeah. No,
Um,
you through the information that you guys received about this opportunity previously, it was included that um, up to troop transport size, medium troop transport size vehicles would be accommodated for. So you're definitely within the pocket of what should be reasonable.
okay, so I wouldn't be wanting to leave my vehicle here and saving this campsite. We're actually on the move from this camp,
Yes,
so
sir.
it's fine. Okay, so then yeah, well then I will um after putting all my other bits and things away, probably still had a small notebook out and a pen that was probably hanging from my mouth after hearing what was just said. And I'll flip up my notebook and throw that in a little pouch on my side with the pen. And I'll give a look to my other two uh, party mates. And I'll give a slight shrug and I'll hop in my vehicle and start the engine.
Okay.
And I will await to see if um, Akama needs to ride along
Okay.
before starting to move.
Okay. Akama, are you wanting to
So I
hop in
go
the
ahead and
vehicle?
I gather all my my stuff together, all my rations that I just finished chowing down. Such a delicious meal. And then I walk up to the vehicle window, driver's side, and I go ahead and give a nice gesture to Ren, like, wow, I guess Pimpin got what came to him, I guess. I don't know. Hey, do you mind if I catch a ride with you?
I just do a
I
head nod towards the passenger seat.
Sweet. I just hop right on in. Close the door right behind me.
Okay,
Toss your
excellent.
things in, and I'll just say toss your things in back.
Ay, ay, el capitón.
And the
Uh,
bears in convoy directly behind Wotek and Ymir are you see the massive bear in the rear view mirrors of your buggy Ren pull up directly behind you. Not not directly on your ass, you probably have a good 10 or 15 feet of clearance, but it's a big ass bear. You definitely see um, the giant Ursine's shoulder in your rearview mirrors just because of the enormous 5,000 pound hulking frame of Wotek.
uh, give me 1 second, guys.
So basically, we're in convoy. It's not like I'm lagging behind.
So is your vehicle like a power window or like a roll down window?
My vehicle?
Yeah.
Doesn't have any windows.
No windows?
It's got a windshield, but no windows.
I open the door and I put my body out and I look toward the back and I said, "Man, that's a big bear, brother."
You don't have to open the door. You could just lean out the side.
No, I can't. There's no window.
Yeah, that's why you can lean out, because there's no window.
Oh, so there's no window at all, but there's a hole.
Yeah, it's not enclosed. Say there would be a window there. There's not a window there, but there's still an empty space where you can lean out.
Oh, kind of like
Yeah. You're not
Okay,
sealed
okay.
in like a tank or anything. Yeah, it's
Gotcha,
open.
gotcha.
It's like open roofed. It's like a doom buggy esque style. Picture kind of like a warthog from what's that game? Halo,
Halo?
kind of, but like
Okay.
slightly bigger and a little bit more of a It's meant for moving and stuff like that, but it's a little bit more survey as opposed to battle ready.
All right, so I guess
It
I'll
has like
just
a big gun on the back. It's got an arm and some other like compartments and stuff.
I'll pop out, put my foot on the seat, and go ahead and just like start waving toward the bear, like, "Hey!"
Yeah, like from you sitting in the car, you could easily grab like the top like roll bar and like just hop into the back of the vehicle. Like,
Oh man, I went all like nice and casual, like, "Oh, let me open this car real quick."
Guys, I'm trying to get the whisper function to work, but I'm having a little bit of trouble because it's cutting off. Let me see something. It's cutting off the bottom of my screen where it's showing me the fucking menu that pops up to select people. So I'm not getting an actual like window to select you guys. Let me see. That may be something I'll just tackle later on. For right now, we'll do it like this. So Bear, as you guys all start leaving, Wotek very brusquely, he apparently gets a little upset and kind of shrugs one shoulder hard, almost like kind of telling you to get off. And as you look down and kind of wonder what the fuck is going on, you see him swing his massive head back over to the fire, and he kind of makes a snorting noise. And you realize that he's reminding you, you guys are in a forest, and we need to protect the ecosystem. Can't leave that unattended. You know what I mean?
So, given the fact that his shield brother, because he clearly understands the signals that Wotek is giving him, Ymir dismounts Wotek, walks, takes massive strides back to the fire, and stamps it out. Does whatever he can to smother it, and he makes sure there's absolutely no embers left. When that's done, in about maybe a minute or so, 2 minutes of him stamping out the fire.
Oh, it takes 20 seconds. No problem.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
Okay.
He stamps out the fire, returns to the side of his shield brother, and bows his head in reverence out of respect for what he was saying, because it reminds him of his oath, regardless of what he has chosen to walk this new path in life. He still has certain things that he will never, ever break as far as his oath is concerned.
Right
And
on.
so he bows in reverence to his shield brother and remounts.
Okay. All right. With this, you notice Wotek give you a very solemn nod and appreciates your acceptance when presented with an opportunity for reflection and correction. So you definitely feel like you're both on the same page now, and you feel a lot better about leaving this pristine environment the way that you found it. You guys all start heading down the trail. As you're continuing, you go around a slight bend that's taking you a little more west now instead of northwest, directly towards the ley line in front of you. The pace is very slow because you guys are moving roughly at the same pace as the surrounding groups. You guys are all a little unsure of, what's going to be coming up and what's happening. So nobody's really kind of sprinting ahead. Unless you guys want to take that position and just like floor it and try and fucking like race forward. It's all a kind of sedate, kind of just slow march towards, your guys' destination. Does that sound okay? Do you want to just kind of keep pace with the surrounding groups, or are you looking to like charge ahead?
I would just keep pace. I don't want to make a scene.
Same.
Okay.
Ymir would match whatever his convoy was out of respect because they're the lead.
Okay.
I'm not driving.
Okay. One
And to
second.
answer your RP from earlier, Akama, you think Wotek's big, you should see his father, Aku.
Nice.
Okay, you guys are continuing along, and after just a moment or two, you guys hear it echoes through the forest incredibly loudly, and all it sounds like is a single metal strike. After that, you start hearing a whole bunch of screams, as well as and the screams are silent. You look back to the southeast a bit where your guide had disappeared into the darkness of the forest. And you see a huge blaze of hellish orange light rise up from the tops of the trees and engulf a roughly quarter mile of the forest behind you. The intensity of the flames is so severe that this burst of tremendous fire seems literally, as it passes in just, a second or two, it seems as it flares up from the forest and into the night sky, that the forest in that entire area is now completely gone. Whatever these flames were, it was enough to reduce that entire section of forest basically to ash. Not even the trunks of the trees are remaining, and usually in major forest fires, that's exactly the result. So whatever this was, it was enough to basically vaporize the trees of that entire area pretty much instantly. The fireball.
I'll lean over to Akama and be like, I thought Ymir just put our fire out.
Oh man, I don't know, brother.
So as the fireball rolls up into the air and dissipates, you can hear murmurs and chatter, hushed and subdued, definitely intimidated chatter coming from the groups around you. And you can tell that this is definitely not put people at ease about their decision to join this. As you guys are continuing on and everybody starts picking pace up again, just up in front of you, you see once again your guide steps out from a tree that's mere feet up ahead of you guys.
Does this giant firestorm that happened in just an instant, is there time for, like, say, any wind or anything to blow anything in a direction to get maybe a scent of the smell that came off of this? Does it have a familiar smell to the burning
Does
phase man
Wotek
that we
sense
just met?
anything?
Is there a sulfury smell, or does it just smell like burnt wood?
You guys are actually upwind of the location of the detonation. So unfortunately, there's nothing.
And it also just happened in an instant, so probably haven't even chance to
Yeah.
settle. Okay.
Wotek. I mean,
Does he sense any unnatural, like, can he tell that this fireball is not from a natural source,
yeah,
but
no
is
way.
some
Not
sort?
definitely not natural.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Oh, definitely not natural.
Yeah.
Got it.
It
Okay.
burnt a chunk of the forest in an instant.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
there's
not
something
even
pretty
jet fuel could do
powerful.
that, yeah.
Okay, so let's see. And keep in mind, guys, at any point, if you're looking over your character sheets, you guys all have different skills and sensory abilities and magic powers and all kinds of shit. Kilo, I think you might even I don't remember if we did. I guess we didn't do like a sensory band, but that's something technologically you can pick up too. Is do like helmets that have all kinds of equipment and shit in them, and you could actually do like essentially like a Star Trek kind of fucking tricorder reading or whatever that would go right to your heads up display. Blah 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 blah. So, anyway, so as everybody's proceeding and your guide steps back out, let's see. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. Shift C is what it is. There we go. All right, so as he steps back out, he seems to be speaking in just a calm, kind of human voice again. But now you notice that the exterior of his flesh is even more charred and crispy. And now his clothes even seem to be a bit singed. And the smell coming from him is much, much worse, as well as his small cigarette seems as though it's completely turned to ash, and yet, strangely enough, it's still holding its form perfectly. In fact, as you
Like
guys,
that great aunt at holiday parties that has that super long ash.
right, with the marlin spike, uh, and you guys each notice that as he begins speaking, his skin seems to be reducing in the amount of extra damage it has. His clothes seem to be reducing in how singed they are, and the cigarette between his lipless jaw and palate seems to slowly, from where it's being held by his teeth, it slowly seems to be getting paper going back up towards the tip. And you realize that essentially whatever burned him more is slowly undoing itself back to a base level.
Could I perceive from seeing this that possibly he had expended some sort of just with the recent events, could I guess from this, or would my knowledge not be great enough in this area, that maybe he had just expended something that maybe had deteriorated his form, and then now he's basically regenning his.
Go ahead and give me a perception check. And for that, so that everybody knows, we're going to go into our journal. We're just going to go into our player characters. We're going to click on Ren, character sheet, profiles, and it would be right under saving throws, right here. So all he has to do is click that, and we've got our perception roll. Okay, so unfortunately, trying to suss that out, you have a general feeling, especially with your propensity for magic, that he is definitely what just caused that detonation. But you're not sure, like, if it was just magic or some kind of ability or maybe something demonic or technology. You're just not sure. You're pretty sure it wasn't technology, but other than that, you're not sure.
And we're all at a stop now because we saw him approach in front of us, so we all stopped
Correct.
to wait for him to speak. Okay. I will quickly, while we're watching him, scribble on my notebook that I'll pull out real quick. And I'll just write really fast, I believe he caused that.
Okay.
And I'll just, without, so I'm not speaking, I'll just flash it over quickly to a comma so he can read it briefly.
Okay. All right. So
okay.
So he gets
And
that
then-
information.
Then I will rip that top piece of paper off, ball it up, and do a quick whistle and try to toss it over my shoulder back over the car to Ymir.
Okay. All right. You go ahead and toss that over. This is like in plain sight of him, right?
Yeah, he'll I mean, he could. I'm not trying to hide it too much.
Okay.
I'm also not trying to draw attention to myself, which is why I'm kind of being. That's why I'm doing the note. But I mean, if he saw
Kinda
me toss a piece of
surreptitious.
paper, yeah, he might be like, "Oh, he's throwing something back to his friend." It could
Okay.
cause curiosity, but he might miss it too. I don't know.
Okay, so as you toss that over, you notice that he definitely kind of sees you do it, but essentially he seems really dazed right now. And he
There's other
doesn't
groups
seem
here too, correct?
Yes, they're still a ways away from you guys, but he definitely still seems kind of out of it and almost like he's recovering. So he really takes no notice. Bear, did you want to catch that piece of paper?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you simply catch it and just do you have literacy? You probably have literacy American, right?
No. Russian, Gigantes, Native, and one other one.
Let's see what that one is. Okay, so Russian's your native, Euro Gigantes. Jesus. Oh shit, guys.
What'd I do now?
If we had a giant following us around and we haven't understood anything he said, and vice
Basically,
versa,
yeah. Basically, yeah. I think
I'll lean over to a comma and be like, "God, this guy just keeps following us. I don't understand
Like
a word
he's-
he said."
I don't want to tell him no because he's big.
He's like, gabba, 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 somebody be-" I'm like, wow.
He's following us, and the bear's following us, and they seem grumpy if they're not together. So I just let them
He's
do what they
just-
got to do.
He's
Oh,
just
shit.
gutturally screaming at you guys for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, bro.
I swear to God, I'm afraid.
I'm looking over this. You don't have literacy. So they
No.
toss this little note over to you, and you will say
Save
that
it
you
for toilet
guys
paper.
well, here's how we explain this. So, okay, so Ren has got a small universal translator
I was about to.
that was just like a find on one expedition that isn't very sophisticated at all, and unfortunately, this hasn't been on the list of things that he needs to be spending his money on. So he's just got this really basic, half broken down one. that's
Size of like
able.
an iPod Shuffle or something small little thing.
Yeah, and you guys can tell that it definitely does not work very well because some of the things it's been trying to translate back and forth have not. They've obviously been completely fucking wrong. It's almost been like Mad Libs sometimes. But for the most part, you guys have been able to get general principles and concepts across. And when you guys asked if he wanted to travel together, obviously you guys all agreed. But all you can speak is Russian and Euro Gigantes. So those are definitely not common in this environment. So your guy may be more of a like hand gestures, grunts, and all that kind of
I
shit.
told you.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
was prepared for
And
it.
then what we could say too is as you level up, bro, you're gonna get to pick more skills, secondary
Right.
skills. So or I think you might get more OCC related later as well.
I'm gonna have to
And
start creating '90s chokers that actually translate languages as we speak. My so-called giant.
I also have a language translator in my bag.
oh, and your equipment?
Well, so if I would have known this, then would I have been able to maybe say instead of writing it down, type it like a text message almost in this little translator and then toss it back to him to see?
Yes. The function of it is you could even record your voice, or
Would
you
it be
could
too
type.
loud or say it aloud?
Sure.
That's why I was doing the
You
writing.
you
Trying to
could
be
you
very
could
discreet.
text it. Absolutely, you could.
Like
And
I
this
didn't care if he
is
saw me toss something because I'm just tossing something, but I didn't want
Yeah.
him to get him to hear me be like, "I think he did it," type things.
perfect. All right, and we're gonna do a roll to see how well it translates. So you
Or I
toss
could have
that.
just drawn a stick figure of a skeleton man with a bow tie and then the fire in the background and made like
Drawing.
a bunch of arrows pointing at
It's
him.
all down to pictoglyphs. I like that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So yeah, but Bear, you could choose in the future to obviously get a either Atlantean or American or whatever, and then that'll help.
Yep. Well, I was also thinking maybe as Wotek levels up too, maybe his understanding of the environment, Bear could or Ymir could learn from him. Like that's the the
The
Yeah,
bear
man.
will
knowledge.
know the language more than he would.
Of
He might.
course, he's a son of a god bear. I mean, Aku is a god, a legitimate god. So yeah, this is an ethereal demigod bear that's walked with the Vana for a generation. He knows some shit.
I
He's the guardian aspect of the bear.
Russia and Euro Gigantes. I want to see if there's a common language between a common Ren, Dragonese, Japanese, English.
The one advantage, though,
Literacy
for a
English.
universal translator, if he set it to Vana or Euro Gigantes, that's not a language that's commonly spoken. I don't know if this ethereal being speaks these languages or perceives these languages or not, but that could also be used to hide that message.
So here's the problem. You can't do a text, yeah, because he doesn't have any literacy. So if you toss that over to him, it's not
And I
gonna.
wouldn't have tossed it.
Oh.
I would have known
Yeah.
this then because we've
Couldn't
had
you-
enough time together to know that. I mean,
Yes,
we don't
that
know each
makes
other well,
sense.
but enough time to be like he doesn't understand me.
That makes
Couldn't
Besides,
you
sense.
use the translator to translate his language into Russian, so to
Yes,
say?
he just had there'd be the risk
He
of the other
couldn't
guy hearing it,
we'd
perhaps.
have to. I mean,
Which
okay,
it
so
doesn't really matter. So
basically,
it's
there's two ways we could do this. I could basically either just not toss it back to retcon this, or I would toss it back and it would be a low volume and he would listen to it and understand that it's not meant to be.
sure. Let's
played.
just say that. So Bear, as you you know what? This is the perfect opportunity for me to bust out the old magic makers. All right. As you reach up and catch this small electronic device,
I would have turned the volume down before tossing it back, knowing that it's going to be an audio cue too, just to make sure that.
Okay.
Since I am tech savvy and knowing that Ymir's probably very not so much.
Okay.
Very not so much.
So as you catch this thing, you look down at its strange little magical blinking screen, and it's basically just pointing to the one large button at the bottom. And so after using it a couple of times before, you know to just very gently, with the very tip of the pad of your index finger, the most sensitive portion, and definitely not your nail, because you still see the crack in the hard plastic left last time you were a little rough with this delicate device, this toy. You gently, ever so gently touch that button. And of course, you put another crack into it because you're just way too powerful and clumsy. But you hit the button successfully. It sticks for half a second, and then pops back out unnaturally. And very low, you hear in perfect Russian, God, we got to get the whisper. Oh. My bad. Bear, you're in Discord. We could have just done it this way. So fucking simple.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to,
Well, we're going to be able to do it in game in the chat, but like I said, it's kind of crazy. I'm sure you guys have noticed sometimes you'll open a window in this tabletop and it's like it's not spaced right, so you got to like move something down to open the window and be able to click on what you need, and certain things just don't match up. And for some reason, as I'm opening up the window to whisper, it's like below the line of the screen. So I'll figure out how to fucking move it around, but for now, at least we have a way. Okay, so I'm just going to DM you. This is what you hear from the recording.
Perfect.
Baby got back. I'm like, the fuck?
Confused by the strange sound that comes out of the voice recorder. Ymir smashes it. Fucking baby got back.
My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, honey.
Damn it, he didn't play the recording. He picked my song list.
Okay. All right, that's what is translated to you. And okay, as it plays, this creature seems to cock its head to the side a bit and look directly over at the noise. As it does, its chest begins to shake.
Ooh, it's shimmying.
And it says, I would not drink that if I were you. All right.
Drink that?
Okay. So
yeah, that's what I heard.
All right, so with this, it kind of spins in a weird, like, Nazi gesture on its heels and clicks them twice, and very quickly balls up one of its fists, its right fist, and strikes its own chest, like right at the heart. As soon as it does this, it does a deep and reverent bow directly into the darkness in front of it, towards the ley line. Then you guys hear a sizzling, almost discharge of heat and steam, and you see a whole bunch of kind of like a corona of heat, a little bit of smoke, and a lot of steam start venting off of him as he's bowed. then it dissipates, and it goes back down to just the low crackling and sizzling noise of his flesh being consumed from within. His voice is totally normal, and as he stands up, he looks over his shoulder and says, "We should proceed to the rendezvous." With this, he takes his first brisk step forward, apparently in a normal state of mind again, all strange rituals aside, and begins a fairly brisk pace walking towards the ley line along the next curve of the road. So you guys are just kind of staying along the road, and he's starting to move at a little bit faster pace. He leans his head back as you guys start moving, and you hear a very, very loud, almost steam whistle, like a train whistle, erupt from his throat through his lips, or through his teeth. And as it goes off into the night sky, you realize that the motors begin up again, and everything kind of kicks in with the sound of everybody moving towards the rendezvous again. Would you guys like to go ahead and start following along?
Before we start, did the other groups catch up and witness this? Like him saying anything or?
No. Nobody else is close to you guys.
So
They're all
we're the
still
only
headed
eyes that saw this.
Yep.
Okay.
But they're still all headed in the direction of the rendezvous.
Yes. They've all just started
Do I-
moving again. Everybody had just
do I
stopped because of the fire.
perceive- So do I perceive that anyone else can even see this person? Or can I get an idea if anyone else even notices this thing that we're following? Or are they just going all to a predetermined rendezvous?
You guys are all heading to the same rendezvous spot.
I understand that. I'm saying, but are we going to the rendezvous because we're following this guy? And are other people following him as a beacon, or are they just going there? Do they even see him? Can I get an idea if the other groups can even see this guy that we've been talking to?
Or do they have their own guide bringing
No.
them to the
I'm sorry.
rendezvous?
I'm sorry. No, they're all. Everybody is being guided, it appears, by this guy. And
Okay,
when
so they also see him as well.
yes,
They
absolutely.
just weren't close enough to hear him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Go ahead.
Since I'm driving, I will hold off a bit to make sure everyone else kind of gets a little bit caught up, and then proceed. Just because he keeps having these little
Freak
weird
out moments.
Yeah, so I kind of want to maybe have some others around just in case it happens again, or if it goes a little bit sour.
It's a trap.
All right. Okay, good deal. So you guys are proceeding cautiously. As you continue forward, okay. As you guys continue forward, quickly the light from the ley line ahead of you intensifies to where it's almost like you're standing under stadium lights. I mean, it almost more intense than daylight. And the aura that it puts off in the surrounding area is, I mean, palpable. That feeling that you were all experiencing earlier of, a tingling and all that kind of stuff. Right now, Dex, Akama is very charged up. He's definitely feeling that fantastic fucking power source running through his body, reinforcing him. And you are, you know that at any time, if you're needing to cast now, you're more than able to draw on the ambient energy surging through you, and you won't have to expend any of your own PPE. Up to a certain point, you're able to draw, I believe it's 20 points per melee round. So for, in one set of your attacks, you can draw up to 20 points and have that be accessible for your own use. But what you guys notice is that this area seems to have an unknown nexus point, um, which is where two ley lines intersect, causing an even more powerful concentration of magical energy. The reason that this nexus seems to be a fairly well kept secret is because the length of one of the intersecting ley lines is so short that it probably is relatively unknown to most of even the more local inhabitants. And it seems to be at a very close to parallel angle, which would cause people from most angles of viewing this thing to literally not see that it's uh, two ley lines joined unless they were flying almost directly above it and getting that very clean top down perspective. And so, in that way, this kind of natural wonder has been able to be preserved from exploitation from a lot of forces, and seems to be relatively free of a lot of the encampment that usually accompanies these kind of potent sites of magical resource. You also notice that the surrounding mountain ranges that are again composed of some kind of strange alien material, they seem to be almost sparking ever so slightly, almost like a fork in the microwave, just letting off small, some kind of maybe electromagnetic reactionary sparks and some arcing that you wonder if somehow these rare minerals and materials have encapsulated this special little nexus point, perhaps causing some of the supernatural creatures in the area to not really pick up on its potency and location like they normally would. Kind of like wrapping something in tin foil and keeping it from receiving, cell signals or radio signals or whatever. So, as you guys approach, you guys see that this very special little nexus point uh, does indeed have a rippling, kind of tumultuous core that right away Akama is sure is a site used for rift uh, teleportation and creating portals. This surely is your guys' destination, and you're positive, Dex, that this place is going to have more than enough fuel in it, magical fuel, to get you wherever you guys would need to go, not only on the planet, but probably most of the different destinations you'd want to go in the megaverse. Not powerful enough to get you into closed or locked dimensions, which are usually used to house cosmic terror level threats that could basically wipe existence out. And by some luck, somewhere along the line, had gotten locked in something like this as a dimensional prison. These are extremely hard to access, but short of that, this Nexus should be enough to reach just about anything you would want. A good thing to remember if ever you guys are maybe looking for a little surreptitious location to portal from. Okay? Um, as you all get closer, you now see that you're starting to break through from the tree line into kind of a clearing. And the clearing actually looks pretty massive. It looks like it's several hundred yards across, and it seems to roughly form a circle around the center of the nexus point. And as you guys completely break the tree line, you guys see that through a very small crack in reality that appears to be framed by a crackling kind of ripping energy signature, which is the telltale signature of reality and dimensional uh, teleportation and travel and rifting. You guys are sure that what you're seeing in the very center of that disruption is indeed another location. Um, it looks to you like this is still probably on Rift's Earth, but none of you are familiar with the location. Um, this is generally what you're able to see, but Dex, your guy actually knows that that could be kind of deceptive. So
Oh yeah.
even though this is what it appears to be, none of you are suicidal enough or ignorant enough to assume that if you jump through, this is where you're going to land, or that it even would actually take you somewhere and not do something different to you. So, as you guys arrive through the tree line, a few dozen different um, varied merc types start stepping out into the open as well. You see a few vehicles with these different groups. You guys would estimate that there's probably a dozen actual groups traveling together. Some of these are as small as a couple of members, though, so it was a little hard to calculate earlier. Um, the largest of these groups appears to have about 8 individuals in it. Um, there are all kinds of different races and classes represented. You guys are seeing some uh, kind of anthropomorphic figures, animalistic kind of humanoids. There's a couple of large combat Borgs, and then a couple of sleeker Borgs in the larger party, along with what you guys would probably guess is a juicer, not somebody to fuck with, and a couple of other dangerous types. That particular group looks pretty hardcore, and you guys get the sense that right off the bat, out of everyone you'd tussle with, they'd probably give you the most challenge. Borgs look heavy duty, probably not necessarily like alien tech, but at least like mil spec kind of quality. Um, the only individual that really catches anybody's attention for the most part, that seems very, very out of the ordinary, seems to be some kind of humanoid that has all kinds of like robes drawn all about them. And this individual seems to be emitting some kind of glow from under the robes. The form is relatively slight, but this individual is standing with its back towards you, and it has its head bowed under its robes and its hands folded, almost as if in meditation or deep contemplation in front of the rift. And you would guess that this individual is probably in the act of interacting with the rift right now. Flanking this individual, you see that there are two large armored mech-like forms that seem to be guarding the individual. And as you all start approaching, you see that your guide quickly starts outpacing you guys, intently walking over to have a conversation of some type with the robed, glowing figure before the rift. Um, you guys pull up to about the same kind of distance from the rift that everybody else is, about 50 yards or so. Everybody's pretty interested and curious, so people are kind of wanting to get a good look of what's going on. Um, okay, as you guys close in and stop and are looking at the scene in front of you, is there anything anybody wants to do, or any kind of anything anybody wants to say, or anything at all?
I would like to walk up closer to the rift and do one of my magic tattoos called the Eye of Knowledge within a rift, and do a dimension sense to see what's this rift have on the other side.
Okay. Let me. I'm gonna very quickly
Uh,
take a close look
this
at the
one.
description.
Do something to activate my recharge abilities at a nexus point or a ley line for my vehicles and things, or is it just a passive thing that's just automatically happens?
Essentially, how we're gonna play this is your batteries are topping off just by being close to this
Just by
thing.
being there. Okay, cool. Okay.
You said Eye of Knowledge with Eye of Knowledge within a
Naya
rift,
knowledge.
right? Within a rift. Okay, so right away as you start focusing on this, you do your familiar somatic components by folding your fingers and preparing to do this casting.
I go ahead and I sit down and cross my legs into a meditative state to get a better
Okay, you hike your
sense
legs
of
up
what I.
and tuck them.
Mhm.
And as you're sitting there, you definitely don't feel like anything's out of place, because as you're starting to get set up and dropping down, you notice that there's a few others in the surrounding area that appear to be doing the exact same kind of thing, just in their own way. Um, Lines of information. Oh, and yep, you can sense the dimensional fit. We were just talking about that. Impenetrable is the kind that's like the Prism decks. Okay. Okay. Um, Megaverse Builder. Oh god, I'm having fun with that. All right, so what was it? 60 plus 3. What did you get? Oh. Yeah, so I shouldn't have even closed that. So Dex, you should be able to go ahead and go to on your character sheet under your skills. On that one, you should be able to see skill. Yeah, right there. So I'm going to fill this in real quick, I guess.
And I
Didn't
exit
have
out of my
this.
character sheet.
So this should be 60. Yeah, you can exit out. That shouldn't do anything. So this should be 60.
Just in case.
And its skill per level is 3. Okay, and we've got it turned on. I think you'll get a little extra bonus from...
Because I'm on a nexus point.
No, it should be something to do with... I think you've got an IQ bonus. Yeah, IQ bonus should be applied. I think I've got it turned on to where it should apply to this as well.
Okay.
I try to be generous with that. Anything you guys do that involves IQ, it'll give you a little extra something to have a high one. And so we go back to magic, and we've got this all set with 60 and +3. And okay, so now in your character sheet, when you go to your magic section, you should see that kind of over towards cast for that spell, there's a dice next to where it says 60%. And you should be able to just hit that dice and it'll roll your skill check.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hopefully this works, guys. Cross your appendages.
It says input value modifier.
0. It shouldn't have one.
I'm just asking because that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a tab for that or if you have to enter it, but you should be good. Skill percentage 64%. Your roll was 41. Success. All right. So as you reach out with your senses, and you've expended, you know what? We do want to check. We all fucked around with doing mock combat last night, guys. So we're going to do one quick step. I definitely know that you had a success on that one, and we'll pick up from that moment. It should just be magic, psionics, and we can do hit points on the board. So reset. That's right. Akama doesn't have any ISP. That's crazy. And then profiles. All of these should be good. I'll do the same thing just to make sure, because I know some people, Ren lost a little bit of armor. Everybody lost like a little bit of some kind of resource. So we've got magic. Get that topped off. Psionics. Get that topped off. And under profiles, we'll reset all of our armor. Okay. And then last one is your mirror. Sorry, guys. Doing it this way, though, we're definitely going to save some time later.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Magic. Reset. Psionics. Reset. And profiles. Guys, it looks like I know what I'm doing for some weird fucking reason. We're actually like, this is pretty good, man. I feel like we actually know how to use almost the whole character sheet now. And this is a very complicated one, so
this is nice, man.
Yeah.
Very intuitive.
Yeah, I dig it. I feel dumb for not finding some resource online where I could have just read a really good tutorial for it, because it would have saved a shitload of time. But I will say this, just like with streaming and all of that kind of thing, if you just start playing around with it and learning how everything works, I ended up in a pretty good place, because like you said, it's intuitive enough. We're at the end of the learning curve, I think, so, or close to it. Okay, so as you cast your tattoo, right at the height of your concentration and your little ritual, I'm just going to say this for the purpose of brevity. We still need to get a rag doll with your placement of all of your tattoos, but right at the height of your little ritual, you reach
It's almost done, but yeah.
Where would you like that one? Do you happen to know?
I gotta pull it back up. It's gonna take a little bit, but continue.
Okay. Well, for right now, we're just going to say that it's placed like up where your third eye would be. Doesn't matter. So you reach up and you gently touch the tattoo right at the culmination of your concentration and focus of your magical energies. And as you do, that gentle touch with 2 fingers into the middle of your forehead feels as though your third eye, your spiritual awareness, explodes outward into the megaverse. And right away, your inner magical astral self opens its eyes and begins seeing the world through the lens of the magical and the unfathomable. And as you gaze around at your compatriots, you can see several different telling details about each of them, but that's a matter for another time. Right now, your focus has to be kept very tight, lest a mind can start wandering in these strange and unfamiliar waters. So, as you focus in your concentration and force yourself to make sure that you're staying on topic, you get a clear and precise vision of exactly what's on the other side of the rift. You are positive that this is indeed still Rift's Earth on the other side. You would guess that it's somewhere relatively close, geologically speaking, to your current location, and definitely in the northwest region of where you are now. Or in the direction of the northwest from where you are right now. You would guess that it's probably several hundred miles, but you can't be absolutely sure. Wherever this portal opens to, you are absolutely positive that there is very potent magical energy at play. You are sensing what feels like dimensional pyramids or dimensional architecture designed for the controlling and harnessing of ley lines and magical energy. Your feeling is that the control over these forces that's being exerted is extremely sophisticated. In your experience, the only other instances that you felt like this without being in a dimension that is just almost purely, composed of energy are the Atlantean stone pyramids, which, in all honesty, are some of the best known in existence. So this definitely gives you pause for a moment, and you begin kind of calculating what other races or species would have access to this kind of technology. And it gets shuffled away for later consideration as you realize that you need to finish your diagnosis. You finally are able to feel a fairly significant presence of both life and an environment that is conducive to like humanoid life. Relatively the same kind of environmental conditions. But you would guess that the area that you're sensing is actually very close to a large, large body of water. How large you can't say, but definitely larger than a pond, a small lake, anything like that. For you to sense it this well and get the feel of kind of sea breeze or kind of like the kind of spray that you get in your face by a shore, that kind of really, really strong sensation, and the smell of water in the air, and all of that kind of stuff is coming through very, very clearly. So
Nice.
definitely a location probably either on the water or near. And you're also finally picking up that there's a very, very high concentration of supernatural life within close proximity as well. And not just mundane creatures and beings. You're feeling the stirrings and echoes and tremors that are left by those that walk the halls of the cosmos itself, those that are free to simply wave a hand and make or unmake specific parts of reality. Okay? There are tremors and reverberations coming through that you can feel on the other, even on the other side of this rift, that herald the passing of gods and beings beyond what your mind itself would be able to comprehend. Um, this harkens you back to the experience that we've discussed in your backstory. And this definitely sends a shiver up your spine. Normally, you're steeled and girded against, you know, the most horrific. As an Atlantean, your blood runs ice cold in the face of true evil and terror that would cripple normal men, because your people have walked not just the stars, but the megaverse itself in their travels, and they have mastered the arts of dimensional negotiation. So for you, even the
Odin,
most terrible.
I just got a text from Dex. His PC froze. He's reloading.
Oh shit! Shit. Okay, no worries at all.
It was just like a minute ago, so he might have missed a little bit.
Okay, then we'll hold on to that part. So as he's focusing, you know what? This is a great opportunity, guys. We've been on for 2 hours already. Let's go ahead and take our first short break. We'll take about 5 minutes. Everybody can use the restroom, do what you got to do. And we'll get right back to it in about 5 minutes, okay?